Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the 8 things I wish I knew before moving to Dallas, Texas. Hi, my name is Anita, and I'm your local North Dallas real estate expert. So, the first thing that we want to talk about is property taxes. Property taxes in Dallas are pretty high, and that's actually a statewide thing. You may or may not know, but Texas does not have state income tax and instead uses property taxes as a way to contribute to government services such as public sidewalks, firefighters, and public schools. So property taxes are very important to our way of life, but if you're a homeowner, then you will have to pay for that and factor that into your cost of living and purchasing a home. A lot of time lenders will require that you escrow those property taxes into an account. So while we do need it, it is unfortunately a burden that we have to bear. And there is a way to protest property taxes. There are companies locally here, as well as national companies, to help you protest your appraisal against the city, the county, I guess I should say, and go that route. The second thing that we want to talk about are HOAs. HOAs have the legal right to foreclose on your home if you don't pay assessments and fines. It's actually a very big deal here. So you want to make sure you get all the HOA rules and have them emailed to you before you actually purchase the home. You want to make sure that there's also not a resale fee. A lot of times these newer communities do have that, and if they do have it, you should be aware before you buy the home or even your new build that when you sell the property, there is going to be this fee, and sometimes it's 0.5%, which is actually a lot when you're trying to sell your home. And I've seen that, sellers will try to negotiate that, but just something to keep in mind. You want to listen to the HOA's rules because they do have the right to foreclose on your home. Okay, the third thing that I wish I knew is that Dallasites are pretty snobby when it comes to living south of 635. Now, when I say that, I mean in this kind of corridor that goes from like downtown Dallas all the way to 635. You want to be in this section, or at least that's what people think. And actually right now, those houses are turning over pretty quickly. They're selling very quick if they're in great condition because people want to be in that area and they're kind of snobby about it. Additionally, speaking of 635, there is always construction on 635. I mean, don't ever expect that to change, but I feel like construction has been going on for literally 20, maybe 30 years. I mean, ever since I was little, I remember there being construction on 635. It's just this really, really big highway that connects a bunch of cities together, and a lot of people use it because it's very convenient, but they're just always doing construction on it. They do have a tollway on 635 now. And right now they're doing kind of the east side of 635 in terms of construction. And speaking of highways in Texas, there's a thing here called service roads or feeder roads. And it's not really prevalent in the Northeast, but it's very common here, most likely because we do have a lot of land in Texas. And it just kind of runs parallel to the highway and is super, super convenient for anyone getting on and off the highway. So I call it feeder road. No, I think I call it service road. Other people call it feeder road. It just depends. Either way is fine. Speaking of toll roads, there are a lot of toll roads here in the DFW area. There's one called Dallas North Tollway, which everyone just refers to it as the tollway. And it goes super far north. I mean, way, way up past Frisco, all the way down to downtown. And it is a major artery of the city, and it does get really backed up. There's also George Bush Turnpike, and that is a little bit more north. It connects a few cities, and it's kind of like a half loop. Goes from Rowlett, Garland, like near those cities, Plano, Richardson, all the way to Arlington. And then one of the last ones that I These are ones that I frequently take. The last one that I take is 121, and that connects from McKinney all the way to the airport, and it goes on from there. But that one is like a super convenient highway for those living in the north. When I was young, that tollway did not exist, and you would just have to take a bunch of, slower roads to get to the airport. So it's actually very convenient. If you're moving from out of state, you should know what you're getting yourself into. Texas is hot. There's no beating around the bush about it. Texas is extremely hot, and Dallas is no exception. While we may not have as much humidity as, let's say, Houston and Austin, it does get really dry. And during the summers, it can get over triple digits. There's been a couple summers I can remember that there were 90 days of triple digit weather. So that was pretty horrible. And then in terms of tornadoes, we do get a lot of tornado warnings here. However, it doesn't actually manifest into anything, although there was this one tornado that hit a very central part of Dallas not too long ago, but it was just a very small part of Dallas. Okay, if there's ever ice or snow, you need to hunker down because the roads get horrible. There is no infrastructure to plow or melt the ice on the roads, and a lot of times it is ice. We call it ice apocalypse. You can't go anywhere, you can't really do anything. Sometimes you'll lose power, and that's happened, a couple years in a row, and a lot of people are fed up with it and they just get generators. But unfortunately, that's just the way of life here because we didn't have those issues before. So the cities are not necessarily prepared for these types of events, but they do happen. Traffic. So traffic in Dallas, oh man, it's gotten really bad. But if you need to travel on 75 to downtown Dallas during peak hours, I'm talking like 4:30 to 6 p.m., just be prepared for a 45-minute to an hour commute. It has gotten pretty bad on 75 just because, I think there's just a lot of people that have moved here within the last, 10, 20 years. School calendars. So in Dallas, usually schools start around mid-August and end around Memorial Day in May. I know in the Northeast, they kind of start in September, maybe first week of September or so, and in June. We've just got it moved up just a little bit. Okay, I've seen this question pop up before, but Halloween is celebrated on the actual day of Halloween. I'm not sure if other states or other areas or maybe just specific neighborhoods celebrate the weekend before, but here we celebrate on Halloween. Those are the 8 things I wish I knew before moving to Dallas. I actually grew up in Plano, so I moved to Dallas way after college, but those are the things that I learned while living in Dallas, and hopefully you've learned something too. Please feel free to like and subscribe and comment. I would love to hear from you all, and please reach out to me if you have any questions at all. Thanks!